Touch my sweet spot with your tongue. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck I was saying with that. I don't even know what the sweet spot was. Believe me, it wasn't even a sexual thing. So it just, touch my sweet spot with your tongue. I don't know. I was thinking more like on the chest somewhere, but whatever. Wherever the sweet spot is. Okay, whatever. But I want to talk about this because it's fucking annoying me. Which a lot of things annoy me lately. I don't know what the fuck it is. Well, I mean, other than the fact that our president seems to want to go to fucking World War III for, like, absolutely no reason other than stroke his fucking ego. But let's not even get into that kind of stuff. Just yet, anyway. Now, I'm trying to understand the situation because I want to see it from both sides. Do the Republicans have a point? Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Whatever their sweet spot is, touch it with the tongue, but whatever. So, what's pissing me off is this Iran deal. And the Republicans want to say, oh, it's a horrible, bad deal. It's the worst thing America's ever done, blah, 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 blah. And of course, the Democrats say, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. Okay, so whatever. It's political. It's bullshit. Whatever. I mean, it's bullshit in the sense that it's political. But what's the truth? The truth has to be somewhere in the middle. Is it a bad deal? Now, why are they saying it's a bad deal? Because Iran can test missiles. Okay, that's bad. They can fund terror, terrorist organizations. Okay, that's bad. So, okay, the Republicans are right there. Now, did the bill go far enough? No. The bill didn't go far enough. So, yes, Republicans are kind of right there. But what did the bill do is that it gave the ability to have inspectors go in there. Now, did it end their nuclear program completely? No, but it did slow it down. So, in other words, we had nothing. And then we had something that was, yes, middle ground, but it was more than what we had. And then to have the Republicans come out and be like, oh, it's the worst deal ever. It's the worst deal ever. It's horrible. It's horrible for America. Based on what? Based on we had nothing. Now we have more. May not have been everything, but it was more. See, because I don't think, I don't know if Trump understands this. I don't know if he understands this. I don't think he does. I don't think he does. Because what is taking place right now, in spite of the fact that Iran is doing stuff that they shouldn't, like supporting terror, like testing missiles, they shouldn't be doing those things. But under the agreement, they are fully capable, they're able to do that. They are not in the wrong there. So as of right now, Iran is adhering to the deal, even though they may be doing stuff on the side. So yes, in and of itself, that is a bad deal. It is. But to then take away the little bit of a deal that you got, the inspectors and, the basically the two main things is that Iran's ability to create nuclear material has been not ended, but it has been slowed a lot. And there's sanctions and all that stuff. And we got inspectors in there. So those were the three main things if you count the sanctions. Now, if you're going to fuck with all of that, then guess what? That means we, the United States, are now in violation of the agreement. So Iran, who has done nothing wrong, technically, by the law, by the accord, they have done nothing wrong. They can view that as us violating it, and therefore they no longer have to. It becomes null and void, basically. So all those sanctions, null and void. Inspectors, gone. Slowing their progress, gone. So if Congress does act and makes new laws, like you can't test missiles, you can't do this, blah, 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 We are in violation of that. Okay, we will be in violation of it, which means it will. Oh my God, I don't understand where people don't get that. I don't understand that. So I mean, basically, the best thing that can happen is that Congress does nothing, for which they're perfect at doing that. Because if I understand the agreement properly, if they do nothing, the accord still, or not accord, it's not probably the word, but the agreement still stands, and it is what it is. If they change it and start adding in more sanctions and adding in missiles and terror funding, which is what Trump wants, because he's an idiot, we will be in violation of the fucking agreement. And it's like, now I don't understand, because I'm trying to understand what the guy is doing, which is like trying to understand why the dog poops on the floor. It's basically one and the same. He doesn't know any better. The dog, I mean. Now you got Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un, or whatever the fuck his name is. That little goofy-looking motherfucker. The idea that that motherfucker has missiles that can reach Hawaii and maybe even the West Coast, and Trump is trying to antagonize him to make the first move. I don't understand why Trump wants to reignite the Cold War. I don't fucking understand that. Okay, because you're going to be teaching kids to duck under their desk in case of a nuclear blast. Like that's going to do any good? Like Lewis Black said, it's a fire fuck ball. Okay, it ain't gonna. You're not gonna survive that shit. Because I remember those videos back in the day. You got some two jack-offs sitting in a fucking field with a picnic blanket, and you hear the sirens, and they're like, oh my God, and they throw the food off to the thing, and they take the picnic blanket and put it over their head. Like, a goddamn picnic blanket is gonna save your shit when a fucking nuclear blast goes off. Okay. And then they show pictures of like when they actually do go off, and they show like this house, and the whole thing just disintegrates like into nothing. And like this picnic blanket is gonna save your shit. I mean, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't understand. I don't fucking. He was literally the anti-Reagan. Reagan said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. This motherfucker wants to build another wall. Now, granted, it is a little different, although not really. Now, he is not going to build a fucking wall. I guarantee you he's not going to build a wall. He's not. Yeah, he's not going to build a wall. First off, he can't build a wall. That's what I don't think a lot of Republicans understand. He cannot build a wall. And I'm talking from basically coast to coast. Or, from Gulf Coast to, again, he cannot physically do it because there's swampland. I mean, now you could build it, but it's going to be difficult. There's private property, private homes. Who wants a fucking 30-foot wall going through your backyard? It ain't going to happen. Okay? It's just not going to happen. So, this idea that he's going to build this huge, humongous wall, it's just, again, it's not going to happen. It can't happen. And he's even downplayed it. He's like, oh yeah, well, we're not going to build a wall. We'll build some fences. Fences are not the same thing as a wall, dude. Okay, then it's not. You can fence in my ass. Dude, fences. You know what fences are going to do? Nothing. They're going to do nothing. I mean, if these people couldn't dig under the wall or jump over the wall somehow, okay, what do you think they're going to do with a fence? No, what are we talking? Chain link? I mean, what are we talking here? Now, obviously, it's going to be, fortified, obviously, but it's not going to be this wall. Because I remember back during the campaign and shit, and everybody's like, oh, they're going to build a wall, it's going to be 35 feet high and blah blah blah, it's going to be 85 feet thick and blah blah blah, it's going to go 800 feet down on the ground, it's going to be huge, they kept saying. I remember I went to fucking Time Warner and I had to stand in line for 20 minutes listening to this random fuckhead telling me about how great Trump was. He wasn't telling me, but he was telling everybody. He was just talking loud. And he had his little hat on, a little Make America Great hat. I almost looked at him and said, you're a fucking idiot, go away, shut the fuck up, nobody wants to hear about your idiot fucking president. And this is before he was elected too, by the way. And he's just going on, oh, they're going to build a wall, it's going to be a great wall, it's going to be a beautiful wall. Are you fucking stupid, dude? I knew then for a fact he wasn't going to build a wall. Donald Trump even came out not that long ago and said, we're not building a wall, we're going to build a fence. Now he's getting some odd billions of dollars for this quote-unquote wall. Now what they're going to do is they're going to have drones and they're going to have, different things like that. They're going to have these different, whatever the fuck those things are called, those little, whatever, they have those monitor things. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a bunch of that stuff. Drones and fences, and it's going to be this half-assed bullshit that's going to cost like billions of dollars. It's bullshit is what it is. And for what? For what? Do you realize? That most of the people coming over the border could just easily, some of them are poor, they could easily just buy a fucking plane ticket. Do you realize that most of the real terrorism comes from people who come on planes and just don't go home? You realize it? I don't think they do. I don't think they realize that. I don't think your average Fox News viewer gets that. No, I understand that there are certain drug cartels from Mexico that hop the border. I get that. They bring drugs over. I get that. But they're going to... Dude, they're literally going to dig tunnels under that fucking fence. That's all they're going to do. That's all they're going to do. They will dig tunnels under the fucking fence. This is what they do. They've done it before. We've seen numerous times where they've dug under the fucking fence. They've done it. They've been doing it for decades. They're finding drug running tunnels all the time. And now all of a sudden, Donald Trump's always going to build a wall and we're just going to be 100% completely safe. Dude, I'm sorry. The expectation that a lot of people had for this fucking wall is just asinine. I really don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I want to understand it. But I can't. I can't bring myself to that stupid. I can't bring myself to lower my brain cells to go that fucking deep into stupidity to be like, okay, you're going to build a wall for us. You're going to make her safe. Huh? No. I those words just don't compute with me. Because I know what kind of guy he is. I've seen guys like him before. He's an egomaniac. He says what you want to hear. It's like all this shit with the Christians and shit. And like, oh, I'm going to make it so that you can go and preach from the pulpit whatever you want, and the government's not going to come in and take it. Tell you what you can and can't preach and blah 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 blah. Oh my Christ! And then you got Christians. Oh, he's for God. He's of God. He's standing up for Christian values, and he's standing up, against abortion and blah 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 blah. Yes, on the surface it looks like that. I admit this. Those things, it does look like he gives a fuck. But I'm telling you right now, if you contrast that with everything else, he doesn't give a fuck. He's using it because you know why? He gets off on all those people coming into the Oval Office and laying hands on him and making him a big fucking deal. And, oh, Mr. President, we love you, Mr. President. We'll pray for you, Mr. President. We're your friends, Mr. President. He gets off on that shit. He gets the fuck... Like, he's literally got his dick in his hand every time they come in. And that's exactly what it is. Now, I want to be wrong on that. Listen, and I've said this before... I can deal with the fact that, okay, maybe he's a brand new Christian. Maybe he did get saved, which I know for a fact he didn't, because they even said he didn't, but that's okay. I can deal with that fact. I can deal with the fact that, okay, he's a new Christian and he's kind of falls back into his old ways, which is kind of the whole concept of, putting new wine into wineskins, which is the whole point, because we're basically putting the Holy Spirit into our old body, and we're going to fail. We need to have the new, our thoughts and our ideas have to be Christ focused instead of, on ourselves. That's the whole point of it. And I could deal with the fact that, okay, he's a new Christian and he fails and he goes back into his old ways, and and as long as he repents and blah blah blah, I could deal with that. But that's not what we're seeing here. That is not what is taking place. What is taking place? What is taking place? He is an ego fucking maniac. He is a legitimate ego fucking maniac. And like I said, he gets off on that shit. The only people right now who basically cradle his balls are the other Christians, the evangelicals. They basically just come up and just cup his balls. That's what they do. Nobody else does it. Democrats don't do it. People in his own party don't do it. His wife doesn't even do it. The only people who do it are the evangelicals. They cup his balls. That's all they do. And he gets off on it. Because I think what people don't understand... Now, I'm going to simplify this in a dumb sort of way, but these executive orders, I don't think people get what they are. People are like, oh, he's made an executive order, it's new law of the land. No. That's idiocy. Essentially and again, I'm being very, very simple with this. Essentially, what an executive order is basically a highlighter pen. Like all the Christians want to highlight verses in their Bible. Well, does that mean that the verse before it and after that you didn't highlight is somehow less important? No. It just means you highlighted one specific part and like, oh, that's, I want to take note of that. All these basically it'd be like going on iTunes and getting a new music album, and maybe there's 5 songs in there you don't like, and there's 5 or 6 that you do like. And you make a playlist and you say, I want these 5, and the other song, yeah, they're on my hard drive, but I don't give a fuck. I'll listen, maybe I'll listen to them once in a while, but I don't really care. That's all it is. It's basically a playlist. That's what executive orders are. They're playlists. Essentially, what happens is you have freedom of speech. So Trump comes in, and we're going to make an executive order for Christians, and they're going to have, we're going to stand up for Christians in the pulpit, and they're going to be able to speak their, speak whatever they want, and the government's going to tell them what to do. We already have that. That's a fucking law. It's called the First fucking Amendment. It's called freedom of fucking speech, you idiot. And the Christians are eating it up like, oh my God, he loves Christianity. He loves Christianity. Yay. Now, first off, if he is the Antichrist, and people are like, oh, you can't be the Antichrist because you stand up for Christians. He's not standing up for Christians. All he's doing is highlighting something that's already there as a fact. You as a Christian have a right to speak what you want from the pulpit, because you have freedom of speech. So if you want to rail against the gays, go ahead. You want to rail against the Muslims, go ahead. You have that freedom of speech. Because if you read that executive order that he did, that big Christian thing that he did, that's all it is. It's basically saying you have the freedom of speech. Okay, which you had yesterday, you had the day before, you had a year ago. You had it under Obama. You had the freedom of speech. Oh, they're going to come in and they're going to take our guns and tell us what we can't preach from the pulpit. You're an idiot. You're an idiot, because Obama never took your guns, did he? Okay, you're a fucking moron. Again, that's all executive orders are. They highlight certain parts of, our laws. So, okay, for example, what that does, to be fair, is it says that everyone in the Trump administration and the people in the laws and, the whatever, they will not target Christians, which they're not right now anyway. But it's saying, it's highlighting it, saying, we won't do that. You have freedom to speak what you want. Now, what's funny, especially if you look at, like, end time scripture, where it talks about that the Antichrist, or man of perdition, if you will, he will be given the opportunity to make war with the saints. Now, that means one of two things. Either he's ignored the saints, or the saints were in bed with him from day one. Now, put that with Trump and the way the evangelicals are right now, that's some scary shit. Now think about it. He comes out, I'm against abortion, and you can preach what you want from the pulpit, which is stuff that you've already had. Basically, when it comes to the abortion thing. Now he did do. I will give him credit. He did for the abortion. I forgot what it was. There was some sort of Dicky Act or Dingle Dong Act, something, whatever the fuck it was. And it was something to do, I forgot what it was. Something to do with, like, child trafficking or something. And for, like, I don't know, whatever it was. And it was, like, 1,500 people who were arrested for trafficking children. Because he did highlight. So I'll give him credit on that. And even the abortion stuff, because I don't agree with abortion. I don't like abortion. I understand why it's there. I don't like it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you can say it's there, but you don't like it. But whatever. I don't want to get into that because that's a hot button topic, and I don't feel like talking about that any more than any of the other hot button topics that I'm going to talk about. So. Whatever. I just don't personally like the idea. Is it needed? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. I just personally don't care for it. But so he did do that again with the trafficking. There was this whatever executive order or whatever the fuck it was. So he did do something good there. Okay. That's like I can name like one thing that I really think he did. He had some maybe, and I can be honest with you, I haven't studied, I haven't looked into it, so I could be wrong on that. But everything else is stuff that's already here. Now, again, we should be going into sex trafficking of children. We should be doing those things already. All he did was highlight and say, I want you guys to go and do this specifically. That's basically all these executive orders are. And again, I'm simplifying it very greatly, but that's what they are. So he basically said to Christians, you have the right to have the rights that you have. And they're like, oh, thank you, Mr. Trump. God bless you, Mr. Trump. You're from Jesus, Mr. Trump. Oh, my Christ. Oh, my God. It's just... Now, back to what I was saying. The Antichrist, or man of perdition, I say Antichrist because it's just easier to say, and people understand that. He will be given the right to make war with the saints. Now, like I said, that either means that the saints he ignored, which I don't know why he would, or he got them in bed with him, so to speak. Literally, probably. Grab him by the pussy, basically. And they're on board with him. Now, again, think about Trump and the evangelicals right now. Now, what exactly could be given to Trump, which would seem like a law of some kind, that would turn him against the saints? Because if you think about an Antichrist concept, he would have to draw the saints. Because the whole point of New World Order is to draw everyone together. Now think about it. You got this schmuck. He's got the evangelicals literally by the balls. And they got him by the balls. And some weird little sex thing going on there, but whatever. There's Jim Baker swabbing him in the nuts. Whatever. I don't want to get into that. It is what it is. It is what it is. I didn't make it up. It's there. Look it up. So they're swabbing each other in the balls. Literally cupping each other. Evangelicals and Trump are just gripping each other's testicles. Just I mean, to the point they're turning red. But it says that, now again, let's just say he is the Antichrist, and he does have Antichrist tendencies. I could go through the whole list again. He does have Antichrist tendencies. And again, I don't want to get into that. I did that in the last clip. But what's bothersome for me about this whole situation is that he could sign another executive order that essentially says something to the effect of, and we do have laws, bullying laws. We do have what are they called? Those hate laws and shit. he could highlight one of those. It says basically if you trash a homosexual, like if you talk bad about a homosexual, you could be, especially in a public forum, or if you, actually he did do this in that one bill, the one Christian bill, the very first one that he did, the big one that everybody loved. I forgot what it was called, Faith and Freedom or whatever the fuck it was. It was essentially that you cannot bully other people, like other religions. You can't bully other religions. So in that bill itself, you realize that he could technically, now granted, I think it's going to be more than this, but I'm saying just as like a potential example, let's say it that way, he could then come against people at the pulpit, because right now the people in the pulpit got a right to say what they want to say, but they start trashing homosexuals, they start trashing Muslims. That bill alone could say, you know what, you're bullying these people, you need to stop. And now granted, I think it's going to be more than that, but now think about it. Let's say he does wipe out ISIS, and I think he probably could if given an opportunity. I think he would. I think he'd nuke the whole fucking place, personally. He could end terrorism as we know it. I think he could. I think he could get the peace accord, and I think he could. I do. I really do. I believe he could. If he's the Antichrist, I believe he could. Even if he's not, I think he'd have a better chance, because he is, for all intents and purposes, full of shit. Now think about this. You have somebody who's legitimately full of shit, who just says stuff no matter what. Even if there's no evidence to back it up, he'll just say stuff. I mean, you realize we could have a legitimate peace agreement with no actual agreement or anything at all. He's just like, oh, there's peace now in the Middle East, and people be, oh, okay. God bless Trump. He could do that. Do you realize that? I mean, shit, we saw him do it in Saudi Arabia. He's basically like, yeah, you guys are going to start doing this now, and you're going to do this, this, and this. And you look at the fucking Saudi leaders, and they're like, huh? What? You should have seen the look on their fucking face when he was talking about that shit. Now, again, you want to talk Antichrist bullshit. That Saudi Arabia bullshit where he's laying hands on that fucking orb and shit. I mean, seriously, you want to talk Antichrist? What is the Antichrist? He basically, well, son of perdition, whatever. Or man of perdition, excuse me. What is he going to do? What is one of the key characteristics that he's going to do? He's going to basically preach peace, all the while having a bow to go make war. What the fuck did he say? What the fuck did he say when he was over in the Middle East? We all need to come together as God's children, blah, 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 and go wage war on the terrorists. How the fuck you come together in peace to go wage war? If that doesn't scream Antichrist, I don't know what the fuck does. Jesus would say, you know what, ISIS, Christian, turn the other cheek, motherfucker. If they kill you, then dying is gain, because absent from the body, present with the Lord. Jesus would not say that. Jesus would not say, oh, go wage war, go kill those people. If we are legitimate born-again Christians, then we should, and I gotta be honest with you, I do have a slight thing with this, or I know it's true, but it's still annoying as fuck. We, as Christians, should be willing to give our lives for ISIS. In the sense that we should be willing to die so that they could have another moment on earth to get right with Jesus. That should be our thing. And I got a problem with that personally, but it's true. I do believe it to be true, even though it annoys the hell out of me. Okay? Because these people are assholes. I'm not going to lie. They're complete assholes. I don't want to die for a fucking asshole. But if it means him going to hell for eternity, or getting right with Jesus and going to heaven, again, from a Christian point of view, that should be our goal. That should be what we want. So this idea, we're going to go wipe them out and wipe out their family and blah, 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 nuke them and blah, blah. Dude, that is not Christian. Now, I understand there's a difference between your atypical Christian that just walks the street versus your governmental stuff. And I understand the government has to wage war at times. I understand the government has to do certain things. And yeah, they have to do some nasty stuff sometimes. I understand that. Although this country's done some really nasty shit for very little to no reason. I mean, you want to talk about a new world order? I mean, Jesus. We've done some barbaric fucking shit in one of those Christian nations. I don't know, man. We've done some nasty shit. We've done some horrible shit to other people. And you wonder why ISIS is what it is. Now, we look at it, well, they want to do Sharia law and blah, 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 blah. Now, is Sharia law really any different than the Christian law? I mean, seriously. You see those pictures? You got the Habib with the little head harness there, and he's got the guns and the Quran and taking pictures and shit. And then you see Christians doing the same thing, holding the flag, holding the rifle, holding the gun. What the fuck difference is it? What the fuck difference is? You are imposing your Christian views on other people. That is not what God wants. Yeah, He wants everyone to come to Christ, obviously. But not by force, not by, well, you're going to live here, you're going to do exactly what we say, blah, blah, blah. The whole point is a choice. That's the whole freaking point of it all. Now, I think, and this is just getting a little bit off topic, but because there's always been the debate of, are we elected or do we choose to be saved? Like, we had to make a mental determination of being saved. But the Bible says that we were elected by God, that He chose us. Because I think what it is, I think when God chooses us, which is more of a spiritual thing, the physical thing is by us accepting it. So we have to accept Him based upon the election that He gave to us. I think we're looking at it from two different points of view. Because again, if you think about it, if God, whether He's on a other plane of existence or spirit or energy or whatever, He chose us, He elected us, and the physical acknowledgement of that is us accepting it, openly saying, I accept Jesus, who died for my sins. So I think that's what it is. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but that makes a little more sense to me, at least on some level, because you really can't have it both ways. And I think the Bible in and of itself is talking a lot more spiritual than physical. Like, I mean, the first early parts of Jesus, the disciples were like, oh, how can we be born again? How can we go back into our mother's womb? And He's like, no, idiot, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a spiritual thing here. You need to be born again in a spiritual sense. Like, your mind and body technically need to be, focused in the right direction. Thank God, not yourself. Which is what I was saying about we should want to die for ISIS. We should be thinking about them, and we should be worrying about their souls going to hell, not ours, because when we die, we know we go to heaven, or at least, that's the story that we're told. No, I say you could take that either way. You can take that however you want. I believe we go to heaven, but, some people may not. It is what it is. So, again, I don't know how I feel about all that, but it's just, I'm like, you sit there and watch this guy. You just sit there and watch the president do these things. And it's like he has no clue what the fuck he's doing. He literally has no clue what he's doing. Now, there's all this talk of impeachment and the 25th Amendment, and, I don't think he's going anywhere. I really don't. I mean, if he's the Antichrist, he's not going anywhere. No. Could he be set up for the Antichrist? Or man of perdition, whatever. Possibly. But he does have Antichrist spirit of tendencies. He does. You cannot deny that. I mean, again, my personal favorite one is that sinners came to Jesus. They flocked to Jesus. They all didn't get saved. They all didn't trust Him in that sense, but they trusted Him in the sense that He would save them, or, physically save them, like, from their sickness. But it doesn't say that. In fact, even Jesus kind of acknowledged it later, that, like, all these people came to me and, None of them followed me, but they basically used him, essentially. Like, heal me, and okay, thanks, and that was the end of it. But either way, the sick and the sinners, the evil sinners, flocked to Jesus. All the while, the spiritual leaders rejected him. Now, again, you contrast that with Donald Trump today, what Christian evangelicals would consider the evil, wicked Hollywood liberals. Okay, well, guess what? The Hollywood liberals are not flocking to Donald Trump. They're not. They hate him. They despise him because he's an asshole. And who's cradling his nuts? Evangelicals. It's the exact opposite of Christ. That alone right there proves that he is spirit of Antichrist. Because guess what? Like Christ said, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm in the fucking desert," don't believe him. Oh, Christ is in the mountain. Don't believe him. You'll know the coming of the Son of Man when you hear the trumpets and the fucking horses and shit come riding out of heaven. Whatever the hell that means. Okay, so is this guy of Christ? I hope the Christ not, because I'll tell you right now, if he is the standard bearer of Jesus and Christ, we're fucked. I mean, I'm more of a standard bearer by saying fuck. Okay, and I say fuck for a reason. One, because I'm an idiot, and two, just because I can't help myself. And I admit that it's my cross to bear. So fuck you. Okay, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I'm not sitting there saying I'm Mr. Perfect Christian either. This is why I can understand it. It's why I can relate to that. So like I said earlier, if Donald Trump was a brand new Christian and he falls back into his old ways, I can get that, because I do it myself all the time. I grieve the Spirit all the time. I say fuck all the time. I can deal with that. But we're not seeing that. I'm sorry, I don't see Donald Trump doing what all these Christians think they see him doing. Like, oh, he's standing up for Christian values. No, he's not. He's basically saying, guess what? The laws that we have as a country, yeah, you have a right to have them. That's all those executive orders did. If you read them, that's exactly what they say. You have a right to freedom of speech from the pulpit. That's all it said. Now, did they have that same freedom a day before? Abso-freaking-lutely. Did they have it all 8 years of Obama? Absolutely. Did they have it 20 years ago? Absolutely. They had the same freedom all the time. The only thing he's doing is coming out and saying a nice flowery speech of, oh, I'm standing up for Christians, and the Christians in the pulpit, and the government won't come against you. He's basically tickling their fucking ears while they cradle his balls. They cradle his balls, he tickles their ears. It's exactly what that is. He has done nothing for them. Nothing. He has done literally nothing for Christians, except for make flowery speeches. And they eat it up, and I'm like, oh. And I'm sorry, it's disturbing. Listen, I'm sorry. The Bible says that the path is straight and narrow. It is not the well-traveled. And the idea that 80% of evangelicals support Donald Trump, the Bible says there will always be a remnant. In other words, the majority will fall away. There will always be a remnant who sees the truth. Noah, Lot. I mean, name names in the Bible. Okay. So when I see 80% of Christians flocking to a guy who grabs them by the pussy and is a complete piece of shit and wants to take away health care out of spite for a bunch of poor people that he despises, then guess what? I don't see Christ in that. He can sit there and talk all the fucking flowery speeches, all the teleprompter fucking speeches that he had somebody else write for him all day. Hey, you know what? I'll even say this. If he sticks to the fucking teleprompter, he's a great president. He's a great president. He says all the right things, does all the right stuff, but he can't help himself. He's got to go on Twitter and act like a fucking jackass. He's got to get up on the mic and start freestyling and act like a fucking jackass. And you see the real heart. You see the real person. He's a piece of shit at heart. And we all are. Don't get me wrong. We're all pieces of shit. So don't misunderstand me when I say that. But again, evangelicals, Jim fucking Baker, Waterslide Jim Baker. All these other fucking guys. There's this little Asian dude from, I see him on YouTube, this little Asian dude from Australia. Hey, Trump is the greatest, or Trump is the great, oh, Trump. And he's like rubbing his nipples and stuff, talking, doing his little sermons and shit. And I'm like, dude, are you fucking out of your mind? Are you out of your fucking mind? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't see what they see, and they clearly don't see what I see. Now, I'm not saying I got it figured out. I'm not going to sit there and pretend I got it figured out. Because, in a way, it's almost, I don't want to say I feel like Jesus, but it bothers me because it's like I, like Jesus, am eating with sinners. I am fellowshipping with sinners. I am, like, listen, I'm not a liberal, I'm not a conservative, I hate both parties. But I'm siding with liberals on a lot of stuff here. Okay, I'm literally eating with the fucking sinner. I mean, I literally am. All the while, the religious leadership is acting a fool. And they're looking at me like, oh, why are you siding with the liberals? I'm siding with the liberals because they're well, even the Bible says this. They're less wrong than you are. Okay. Now, there's numerous accounts where God is like, the city. So, your city was worse than Sodom and Gomorrah in that when judgment comes, they will be judged less harshly than you will be. That's the point. Because we have this viewpoint that, oh, those damn liberals are trying to destroy America. Okay, and the Republicans aren't? Republicans want to take away health care. How is that good? Well, no. And everybody's got 101 excuses. How is it good? How is it good for an insurance company to make money off my suffering? How is that a good thing? How is that a Christian thing? Did Jesus make money off other people's suffering? Not really. Not really. I mean, he didn't. I mean, about the only example that maybe you could make out of that is that the more people he healed, the more his fame became known. Maybe you could say that. So he profited from it on some level. Sort of. But he didn't go out of his way to say, hey, look what I'm doing. Hey, I'm over here, look at what I'm doing. I'm healing this guy. Look at this. Make sure you go tell everybody. Well, I mean, I guess in a way he did. But, it's not the same thing. It really isn't. Like, you're doing something and people take note of it. That's one thing. That's like I always said, when I hear people like Carl Stevens talk about, oh, I'm God's man, I'm God's chosen, I'm one of God's prophets. No, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. I should say that you're God's man. The person next to me should say, you're God's man. You're of God. You're from God. You don't need to acknowledge that you're from God. Other people will do that for you, and that's what Jesus was about. Jesus always said, who do you think I am? And they're like, oh, you're the son of David, you're the son of man, you're the son of God, you're the son of this. And I jokingly said son of bitch one time, accidentally, but it is what it is. So, I don't know. But again, you look at Trump, and it just, there's something about the guy that does not set well with me. And I saw the same damn thing with Carl fucking Stevens, okay? And I'm going to probably post this to YouTube. So those who don't know, he was a religious leader in a big church in Baltimore, and he was accused of cultic practices where it was all about him. And it was. If you look at the way that church worked itself, it was about the leadership. The leadership were rock stars. Pastor Moore acted like a rock star half the time. He did. You can't tell me he didn't. He may not have intentionally wanted to do that, but, give your pastor double honor and blah, blah, blah. Don't get me wrong. I understand he is the head of the ship. I get that. Although Jesus technically is, but you get what I mean. He's the head of the thing. I get that. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing like looking up to your pastor and be like, oh, and maybe even putting him on a pedestal to some degree. Like, oh, it's our pastor and he's our leader kind of a deal. I don't necessarily have a problem with that as long as you recognize that Christ is your leader and so on and so forth. But like some of these guys would eat that shit right up, just like Trump is. And I'm sorry. I saw through Stephen's bullshit. I hope I'm seeing through Trump's bullshit. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely, maybe he is the greatest thing since Christian sliced bread. I don't know. I don't see it. Now, am I in the Word, reading the Bible 24/7? Am I on my knees praying 24/7? No. So when I say that, it leads me to believe that, okay, maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I am completely wrong and I am being used as Satan and blah, blah, blah. Maybe, I don't know. Because I see all these people and they're on bended knee and they got their robe and they got the thing and the Bible and depending on what denomination, and they got the big cross around their neck that's 10 feet and they're like dragging it behind them. I see them doing all this and they go to church 3 times a week and they're, Sunday and Sunday night and Wednesday and their Bible studies and women's meetings and they're all doing all this shit. Okay? And they love Trump. When I look at that, I gotta say, okay, of the 2 examples, I have to be the one that's wrong. Okay, I have to be. No, I admit that see, one of the problems that, just for my own personal thing, is I do feel I fall into Gnosticism in a lot of ways, because it's like, I'm a firm believer that the truth is the truth, as in, it is what it is. Not that I'm a Gnostic, I don't want to be a Gnostic, but sometimes I do fall into that. So if I'm nitpicking myself here, sometimes I do feel I fall into that, where it's like, things are what they are. Well, sometimes they're not. For example, when Jesus said you need to be born again, he's not talking about physically being born again. He's talking about spiritually born again. So sometimes as a Gnostic, and again, I don't consider myself that, and I don't want to be that, but a Gnostic should acknowledge that, okay, if there's a spiritual world, then some of that stuff needs to be unseen. Some of that stuff needs to be, unknowable. And I don't know how I feel about that. Because I'm a firm believer that, 2 plus 2 is 4. But sometimes 4 is not the right answer. So it's... Again, I want to point out, I am not a Gnostic. I don't believe that. But sometimes I find myself, I don't want to say siding with or even agreeing with, but sometimes I find myself entertained by it. Let's put it that way. And I don't want to do that because obviously, it is by faith, not by sight. So, and I understand, the whole knowledge of good and evil and blah, blah, blah. I get that too. And it's like, but like there are certain things like, okay, God created the world. I want to know how he did it. I'm sorry, I just do. Does that make me a Gnostic? I don't know. I want to know how he did it. I want to know physically how he did it. It's just because I'm intrigued. If that's what we're supposed to believe, that God created the universe, I want to know exactly how he did it. Like play by play. I want, commentary. I want special features on that DVD is what I'm saying to you. Does that make me a Gnostic? I don't know. Well, because again, it's not necessarily that we can't know how it was done. It's just we have to take it as faith. And I take it as faith. He created the world. Fine, I get it. But I'd like to know how he did it. So I don't think that's even Gnosticism. I think Gnosticism is like, okay, well, I can't believe he created the world until I know how he did it. Where I am more, he did it, fine, let's talk about how he did it. Which I think is completely different. I actually believe it is. So as far as, being Gnostic per se, yeah, no. Because it isn't a lack of faith. Believe me, that's one thing I don't have a lack of is faith. Like you read, Doubting Thomas, okay? Well, yeah, I want to see the holes just to prove that he's him, but I don't. not believe it's him, kind of a deal. It's like, okay, I believe that you're Christ, but I want to see the whole anyway. Kind of like that, confirm and verify thing. Does that make me a doubting Thomas? I don't know. I mean, I think doubting Thomas is like, I can't believe it until I see it. Or it's like, okay, I can believe you're Jesus, but I want to see it. There's a difference there. I really do believe that's a difference. I don't know what you would call it. And I think my use of the term Gnostic was actually wrong here, but I don't know. I think what it is for me is I want to take my faith and I don't want to say test it or test, God, but I definitely want to see like a tangible reality of it. It's like I want to have a legitimate conversation with God, not just, well, maybe there's a God and we're Christians and maybe he saved us. I believe he saved us, but I can't prove it. I don't want all this wishy-washy bullshit. I understand it's about faith. I get that. Now, what is faith? I mean, because now I'm going to get a little bit off topic here, where it's probably going to get a little anti-Christian here, but what if God isn't as nice as people want to make him out to be? What if God is actually pretty bad? I don't want to say anything, negative, but what if he's not as, forthcoming as far as, the greatness goes? What if his motivation isn't as pure as people want to make it out to be? Now think about it. What is faith? It's basically... I mean, you could maybe make the argument that if there's any tangibility to faith, it's that we're building an energy, or we're building up energy. And if he is an energy being, our faith makes him stronger. So what if he's using us? What if he only created us to benefit himself? Which, I mean, he's God, he can do that. But what if it's not necessarily for, a good purpose? I don't know. Because I'm talking more like in a sci-fi sort of way, like a what if kind of, ooh, what if God was evil kind of a deal. Again, I'm not saying God is, I'm saying what if. I mean, think about that. We are building up energy in our faith, and we are directing it toward him, which makes him stronger, makes him more powerful, if you will. And what if he's just some weird globule, some weird energy thing out in space? He's just as, he's just there, like some sort of Star Trek villain. I mean, think about that. Now, I suppose you could make the argument, what if the roles were reversed and Satan isn't the bad guy? Because, then again, I think this is something we should at least discuss, or at least ponder. Or at least we have the right to ponder. Now, I'm not disparaging God when I say this, or blasphemy, or any of that stuff. But what if Satan is the good guy in this? What if God is bad and Satan is good? Think about that. Because guess who gets to write the future? Guess who gets to write, history actually, is the ones who are victorious. So if God was victorious over Satan, then he gets to write the narrative. I'm good, he's bad. Like we do right now. It's like, I mean, shit, look at how we in this country, I don't know, downplay slavery. Well, it's just something they did, it was the time and blah blah blah. No, it was horrible, it was wicked, it was just shit. Yeah, we don't look at our country any worse. We don't look at our country as if it were bad because it did that. We raped and murdered and killed Indians and Trails of Tears. We don't look at that. We don't look at how we treat other people, but yet our country's great. Now think about that. You could apply that same concept to God. I mean, and there's even proof in the Bible that could even sway this argument. Have you considered my servant Job today? Basically, he said to Satan, a.k.a. supposedly the molester of souls, have you considered fucking this guy up today? Now, what kind of God says that about a servant who loves him I mean, seriously, would you do that to your kids? It's like, hey, child molester, have you considered my daughter today? Have you considered my son today? You want to fuck him in the ass and diddle him? Have you considered that? Have you considered raping my child today? Who says that kind of shit? Apparently God. Well, that's not what it was about. He knew that, Job had faith in it. Job would eventually break, but he would, whatever. You can make all the excuses you want. It's still pretty fucked up. It's like, oh, I know my son's like really, going to be a really strong man one day, so I'm going to have him get raped by a fucking pedophile just so he can build character. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm going to have somebody shove their dick into my son's asshole so it builds character. And I love my son. Are you fucked? Are you fucked in the head? But I guess God is. Whatever. But, it's a legitimate question, though. I mean, think about it. What if Satan's beef with God is the fact that God was being an asshole? What if he was? We don't know that. We do not know that. First off, we don't even know if God exists. First off, you can love and worship God all you want, but you don't know if he actually does exist. You don't know that. None of us do. Hell, I don't even know if anybody other than myself exists. Hell, I don't even know if I exist. I was thinking about that the other day. I don't know if I exist. Because think about this. If God is energy, and he is, the Bible says he's light, which is energy. It says he's love, which is energy. He is energy, spirit, whatever, energy, ultimately. And if our consciousness is energy, and that energy comes from God, because it's not created nor destroyed, so basically any of the energy that you see is God. So anything, you turn on your light, it's God, basically. Now think about that. If my consciousness, who I am, is God, then do I really exist? The only thing that makes me who I am are the circumstances in life. Now think about somebody doing plumbing, like, oh, well, okay, this pipe goes here and there's a brick wall, so now we got to kind of bend it down to go around the brick wall, and it goes this way. Like, basically all the obstacles of life, all the woes of life that made us who we are, that consciousness flows through those things and basically becomes who we are today. Circumstance, essentially. But if we are all from the same source, when we die, we take all that away, we take the physical bullshit away, what is left? Is there really any of us left? Do we exist after that? I mean, think about it. Do we exist after that? And there's even hints in the Bible where it's like, once everything is done, and we're with God for eternity, it insinuates that they're really, because like your wife is not your wife, your kids aren't your kids, like there's no connection between anybody anymore. They're just there. Like my mother won't be my mother in that sense, my father won't be my father. It is what it is, and it's kind of like we're all individual people necessarily in this big collective. So do we exist after that? Or are we just like a shell of what we used to be? Or some variant thereof? In a way, it's almost like God wanted to reproduce himself, like clone himself in a way. That's why he created human beings. In a way. That's what it feels like. And it's kind of creepy when you think about it. Because like I said, when I think about the fact that I am who I am based upon the circumstances, and if you take all that physicality and all the earthly bullshit out of that, what's left? I mean, seriously, what's left? If you took away my sin, and that's what's going to happen, we're going to die, we're going to be with Jesus and all that, and we're going to be transformed. You're going to take away that sin. Well, guess what? We are who we are based upon our sin. Our sin created who we are. Consciously. It did. It had to. The circumstances of life, the woes of life created who we are. So you take that away, we are all basically static. We're just like, there's nothing there. There's no defining, discernible difference there. Like, okay, you're fat, so everybody makes fun of you, so you kind of go into your little shell, and you try to, you combat that with comedy, and you try to be funny, and you say fuck a lot, okay, or you got big ears, and you kind of like shy off, and people, or you're black in a white world, and the people and the things and all that stuff. You are who you are based upon your physical surroundings. And once that's gone, I don't know what's left. Other than a generic variant of what you used to be. Because none of that stuff that makes you who you are, like, I'm sorry, when we go to heaven, I'm not going to want to play video games. That's not even going to be on the radar. You like to watch football. It's not going to be on the radar. It's not. It's not. It can't be, because it's not even going to be there. There's going to be no football in heaven. There's not. Well, at least there shouldn't be, in that regard, because these are earthly things. These are earthly, petty things that we enjoy, and you take the earthly, petty things out of it, there's nothing left. I'm sorry, there isn't. You can't make an argument that says otherwise. So if we are all of the same conscience, and our consciousness is like this individual little drop in the bucket that is formed and determined. Now, unless that stuff carries over, now imagine, I suppose you could, where we were created based upon our circumstances, and that our circumstances were healed. We still have that failure, but we're living in like a prosperous sort of, like we've overcome that. Maybe. That's about the only way I could see our consciousness, like who we are as people, as beings, coexisting outside of our physical reality. Because again, you take all that away, there's nothing there. There's just a blank slate of potential consciousness. Of like, oh, I can see stuff, but it means nothing because, I can't really interact with anything because none of the stuff that made me who I am, because you understand, you relate to people based upon how you were treated by other people. Like if your wife treats you like shit one day, the next day you're not gonna, you might hold a grudge against that. Now you take that, no, that's sinful. Now you take that away, your wife treats you like shit, and you're like, okay. And that's the extent of it. Now, granted, if it was universal, she wouldn't be treating you like shit, and you would. So you'd have like two kids just standing in a white room looking at a wall. Is basically what we would be after all this is said and done. I don't know how that stuff is going to carry over. How does our consciousness carry over? It really can't. Because like I said, the circumstances of life make us who we are. Now I say fuck a lot because I'm bitter and hurt and dead inside. Okay? Now if I'm not bitter, hurt, and dead inside, I don't swear anymore. So does that make me who I am? Is the spiritual version of me going to be saying fuck all the time? No. Now I'm saying fuck right now. It's who I am. It's what you expect out of these clips. I say fuck, and it's how it is. Now, if I'm not being who I am, then that doesn't make me me. That makes me a generic version of whatever fucking consciousness I came from, aka God. So it's basically God. Now, am I saying I'm God? I'm not necessarily saying that per se. But if we came from God, and we developed as we are because of circumstances, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that. I'd have to think about that a little bit more, because how do we survive outside of our physical existence? I don't know that. I really don't. And then on the flip side, I don't know if anybody else exists. I like to think, okay, I do exist. I'm a being. I have, I don't know, there are words coming. I'm hearing words. I'm not thinking. These are words that are just coming out like it's flowing. Now, is that coming from me, or is that coming from a greater source? Now, granted, I may intermingle a fuck word here or there, which obviously is not from God, but Like right now, I'm on autopilot. I'm not even, words are not even forming in my head. I'm just talking and just saying more words, and shit is just coming out. It's weird. It's like having a shitstorm. It's just like all over the place, and you can't control. Like right now, everything that I've said, I have not actually thought about. It's just, they're literally, these words are coming out, and they are what they are. In fact, the whole clip has been like that. Do you realize an hour and 4 minutes just went by, and I've literally been on autopilot just speaking. Not even thinking about what I'm saying, necessarily. A couple times maybe here or there, but now where does that come from? What is that? It's like when I was playing Tetris back in the day, back in the DS, and I got over, what was it, 999, whatever the fuck it was. It gets to the point where it's like you were literally playing that game. It's happening so fast, like the pieces are just bloop, 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 and you have to be so quick that you literally go on like the spiritual autopilot. It's this weird. The one thing I love about that game, because it puts you in this place where it's like you are zoned out. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything. Like, you're not even really seeing the game. You're just like, you're reacting. Like, just primal. It's like moving these pieces quickly. Because what would happen is the piece would not even come down. It would literally land at the top of wherever the line was, where the all the other pieces were. And you had to quickly hit the button so you could turn it. And the more you turn it, you could take a second and be like, oh, it needs to go over here. It needs to go over there. And you keep turning and turning and turning. As long as you're turning it, it'll stay. You could actually move it. You can move it left or right. So once you got into that pattern, it literally was a spiritual thing where it was like, I'm doing this unconsciously. And, you know, it was actually very, very cool. And I remember that exact moment. Like, I had never experienced anything quite like that. Like, you watch a movie, and next thing you know, like 3 hours went by, and you realize you've been sitting there with like your mouth half open, like, and there's drool running down your face. You're like, what the fuck? Did I just have a mini stroke? I mean, I was doing that the other day. I was doing this weird thing with my mouth, like just like licking my lips, and I was watching a movie, and I wasn't even realizing I was doing it. All of a sudden, my mind snapped back into my body, and I was like, I'm moving my mouth. Why am I doing that? I'm licking my lips. Why am I doing it? And I was doing it for a good 5-10 minutes. I didn't know why the fuck I was doing it. Like, sometimes I sit there. I'll be honest with you, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I think the reason I have not had blood clots is because I have restless leg syndrome. Like, I sit there and literally twiddle my ankles. It's my feet. They kind of go counterclockwise and clockwise. They each one kind of goes their own way. And I'm just sitting there kind of bobbing my feet and like, and I'm just watching a movie for like 3 hours doing it, and I don't even realize I'm doing it. It's weird. But yeah, most of these clips, the words that I'm speaking, I have no idea where they're coming from. Are they coming from me? They're coming out of my mouth, but are they coming from me? I have no idea. I have no idea. Like this I'll be honest with you, last hour and 8 minutes here, I can't tell you what I was saying. I have no idea what I was saying. I know I was railing against Trump for a few times and a bunch of Christians. I mentioned Jim Baker. That was about it. Everything else in between that, I have no clue what I don't remember what I said. Like, sometimes I listen back to these and it's like, holy shit, I actually said that? It's weird. It's this weird. Like, again, you get into this flow and it's just. Now, like right now, I'm kind of stuttering around because I'm trying to explain it without actually, you know, like I'm thinking about it, which I'm not forming the thoughts properly. The minute I stop thinking, the thoughts form. It's weird. But yeah, like I said, I can't confirm that anybody other than me exists. I can't even confirm that I exist, to be honest with you. Like, anybody who's listening to this, I don't know if you exist. I don't know if you're a real person. You may think you're a real person, but that doesn't mean you actually do exist. When I think about that, you may not exist. You may only exist because I allowed you to exist. Now think about that. I did all this so that you could listen to it and ignore me, or write a comment, or whatever. Now think about it. I go on and I look and it says like 47 people looked at my shit. Nobody left a comment. What if that's not you doing it, but you're doing it for me? You're doing it to me, basically. Like the cosmic universe is saying, like my mind is creating you to do it. The only reason you exist is to ignore me for that moment. Think about that. Or vice versa. Maybe this clip is something for you. Like this clip is being created for you, the listener, right now, this second. Not me. Because like I said, I'm going autopilot here. You know? Or maybe there's a third option where we're all kind of in the same boat and it's like I'm helping you, you're helping me, I'm giving you something to listen to, you're ignoring me or giving me a like or something. You know, think about that. Because there's one of three options. Either we don't exist, we're all just like some sort of, you know, Sims character, or only I exist and everybody else is made up in my mind, or we all exist and we're sharing this just shared virtual reality. Because that's what it is. Exactly what this is. Like, there are things that are outside of our physical control that we cannot understand. Which means that either God exists, it's a holographic universe, or we just can't explain it yet. Which, you know, I guess you could have all three. It could be a mixture of all three on some level, or whatever. But anyway, I don't want to get into all that stuff. I don't want to get into quantum physics and that shit just yet. But seriously, it's kind of fucked up when you think about... No, I don't know if it's other people. I don't know if other people feel this way too. But again, do you exist? Now, in my head, I want to be like, hey, I'm here. Listen to me. I exist. Hello. I want to be like that. But when I think about it, and I take a moment, and I literally, like right now, I just took a moment. I'm going to take another one here in a second. If I'm not saying anything, is there anything there? There's a consciousness there. I can see through my eyes. I can hear through my ears. But am I doing anything? It's like, what am I? Like inside my body, inside my head, what am I? Am I just my body? Am I just part of this body? Are we just part of our body, or are we something more? Well, if I'm not speaking, then I'm just kind of neutral. Or it's like I said, I can see through my eyes, I can hear through my ears, I can feel through my, skin. But aside from that, do I have any validity? I don't know. I mean, just take a moment, don't say anything, and just look. Just look straight ahead, and then say, what am I? It's weird. It's a weird feeling because like when I speak, I can hear it, which means I can verify. I can take it into account, like not necessarily what I'm saying, but the fact that I can't explain it. It's like my being is trying to communicate. But then I look at it, and like I said, I've been going autopilot for most of this time. Is it my being who's communicating, or something communicating through my being? Like, there is a spark of existence there. Again, if you just sit there, you don't move, and I'm doing it right now as I speak, and for a few seconds, you don't say anything, and you look straight ahead, is there a spark of life there? Yes. But is that spark of life that makes you, is there any validity there? Is there anything actually there? Now again, I'm speaking, I hear words, and I can understand that I said the word words. I get that. Validity, I get that. I hear that. I understand that. I grasp that. But is it that spark of consciousness that was sitting there while I was looking straight ahead saying nothing, or is there something else interwoven into that? Because our subconscious is kind of weird. You got the conscious and the subconscious. Now, the conscious is what we're talking about now, where you look ahead and you're like, okay, there's something there. There's something that acknowledges the world around it through the senses. But is that the one speaking, or is there something speaking through me? Because sometimes, like right now, I feel like something is speaking through me. I'm not actually saying these words. These are just words that are coming out of my mouth because that's just how it is. So again, what if we are not really even conscious? What if we're just this... Now, when I say that, there's a difference between conscious being on versus consciousness being off. Like if you're asleep or you're dead, that's one thing. But if you're awake, that's different. Now, we're awake. I'm awake. I understand that. I grasp that because my senses are taking in input, so I am awake. At least I hope I am. Fuck. That'd be great. That'd be great. This is all a fucking dream. Can you imagine it? Hour, 15 minutes? It's like, oh, it's just a dream. Oh, Jesus. But I mean, think about it. I can't confirm nor deny that consciousness that's awake is the one doing the speaking. I assume it, but I don't know that. Because sometimes the subconscious takes over, like the game of Tetris, and it does control us. We're doing things outside of our understanding, outside of our senses, outside of our existence as a being, as a turned on, awakened thing. Like we're awake. There are some things that do manipulate us. Like, am I being manipulated by the words that are coming out of my mouth? Like, is something else speaking right now that isn't me? Or am I just, or is that just part of it where it's like, we go subconscious? Because I would assume that my brain is formulating all of this stuff, and the words are coming through my brain, so all the information that I'm trying to convey is in my brain. Now, either I can, or not I, but we can access that information at light speed, and it's like, or something else is talking through us. So, like, if you're, I don't know, because it's really weird. Because like I'm trying to, I'm doing it right now myself. It's like, Now, if you're giving a lecture and you're trying to impart knowledge, like specific words and specific ideas, is that you or is that your subconscious? I don't know. And are we our subconscious, or is our subconscious something different? Because why is it we're able to do things outside of our understanding? Again, like sometimes you go on autopilot, you just start speaking. And blah, 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 blah. And again, I can tell you right now, as a matter of fact, for myself, I cannot tell you with 100% clarity or certainty that the spark of life that I have right now for me is the one speaking. I cannot tell you that. Now, I assume, like I said, it all comes from my brain. It's stuff that's in my head, stuff that I've lived through, stuff that I've experienced. Now, granted, like if I'm going to talk about an experience, like right now, I've gone from autopilot, I've gone into now we're getting into the nitty gritty where it's like, okay, let me tell you about my mother, or let me tell you about Peter, that stuff. Now I'm back into it. Now I feel like this is something that I am saying to you, that I'm personally saying to you. Like right now, I feel like it's weird. I'll tell you right now, it is absolutely weird. Because again, you go from autopilot to more concise speech, more concise thought. And I feel like this is coming from me directly now. Like I am speaking it to you directly. Like I said before, the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, or actually the whole thing, was more of random. Like I could have been blah, 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 not even saying anything. But yet the words, hopefully, I think were relatively coherent. I think they conveyed messages. But like, I'll be honest, I don't feel like I am the one who actually was saying that shit. Now, am I saying that Satan was talking through me, or angels, or demons, or God, or Jesus, or whatever? I'm not saying that necessarily. But I don't feel like I was completely in control of what I was saying. Like right now, I'm kind of going back into that, where it's like I'm kind of going back into autopilot right now, where it's like my mind is, it feels like my mind is completely shut off, and it's just, these are words that are just flowing out, and it's conveying a message, even though, so, I don't know, maybe it's just that our thought process works really deeply, to the point where we don't have to think about it, but then there's a point where it's like, we do want to think about it, and we want to connect with those memories that we have. We want to draw out those memories and be like, oh, I remember the time my mother yelled at me because, I made lasagna in the fucking roaster, which is what she always wanted me to do, but she yelled at me anyway because she was being a bitch, and she was mad at my father, and she took it out on me. Like right now, I feel like I'm reliving those experiences, like I'm picturing it in my head, and it's like, there's a connection there. There's a connection to what was there. But everything I was saying before that just was, So I don't know. It's really, really strange shit. Really strange fucking shit. Because if that's the case, do you understand what that means? I mean, do you understand what that means? Like, if I wasn't the one in control of speaking, who was? Now, was it me just, I don't know. But like I said, it did not feel like I was the one saying that shit. It just didn't. Which I think is a lot of the reason why I say fuck a lot, because it's like, when I say fuck, it draws me back into me. I can't explain that, but it's like, I could tell you an entire story without even thinking about it, and it just, like I said, you go on autopilot, and you just tell it. But then there's times when it's like, you want to get right in, like, my consciousness wants to be like, yeah, I want to relive that, I want to be a part of that again. I want, like, if you, like, sometimes I read the stories from the book, and it's like, I relive those in my mind, and it's like, it's great, because, it is what it is. But this, I don't know, this just feels different. It just, like I said, it felt different. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling, I'm repeating myself. See, that's another thing, I repeat myself a lot too, so it's like, I repeat myself a lot too. No, I'm kidding. So, whatever, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, I don't know. Just, I don't know. Anyways, what was? I don't even know what the point of this fucking clip was. I have no freaking clue. You know what? I don't want to talk anymore. I really don't want to talk anymore, because no, actually, fucking, I'm gonna. This is completely off left field, but I have eaten over 1.5 pounds of saltwater taffy in the last day. I got saltwater taffy sometime yesterday, and I ate like 3 frickin' bowls of it all day yesterday. I ate well over half the bag, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like, my kidneys are shutting down. I can feel my kidneys literally like screaming in pain. But I'll tell you one thing though, my pee smelled really pretty. I'll tell you, whew, it smelled really good. Like, I wanted to literally piss on myself. It smelled so good. It was like all sweet, and it was great. I don't know how I feel about that. I had to get something because I was running out of stuff, like snacks and shit. And I was like, well, I could get some candy bars. They had those $11 candy bars. And it sucks because they used to have the bigger bag, not bigger bag, but the bigger box. Because they come with Kit Kats, they come with Reese's Pieces cups, they come with the Hershey chocolate bar and the Hershey with almond. And they used to be around $10-12. Well, this one had everything except the almonds, which I actually like the almonds more than I like the regular Hershey. And I was like, oh, I could get that, and and I was like, no, you know what, fuck, I'm just going to get the saltwater taffy. Because, I could take a little bowl, but something happened to all my little bowls, and so I had to take a big bowl, and it was like, and then I wanted some more, And then I wanted some more, and then I wanted some more. And then, dude, I ate literally half the fucking bag. It was a 3-pound bag. Because for like $12, I could have got a 3-pound bag, or like $18, I could have got the 5-pound bag. And I was like, you know what? I don't need 5 pounds of fucking saltwater taffy. So, yeah, I got 3 pounds of saltwater taffy yesterday. It's been less than 24 hours, and I ate half the fucking bag. I haven't had any yet today. I'm probably gonna get a bowl actually when I go out there. I don't know, man. But that was some crazy shit. Hopefully I get to the store sometime this week. Or, well, it should be next week, but whatever. Anyways, anything else going on? I don't know. I don't want to talk personal shit on this one, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. You're done. I'm done. We're all done. Fuck you. We're all gonna die.